let's go over the recap for Tuesday, January 22nd, after the long weekend with Martin Luther King on Monday. The market and the SPY gapped down over the long weekend, and it looked like we would see some selling, and my bias was to the short side with a possible run out of the open for higher prices before we roll over. So, and that actually happened yesterday, and I was very surprised. Over the long weekend, my scanners were empty, and I only had Netflix and Tesla for continuation from Friday. And there were some earnings and some movement in JNJ and EBAY. And I just had them on watch, but I didn't like the setup, so I just watched them, but I didn't take a trade and didn't pay much attention to it. Even tried a small cap at the open, but as you can see in my other video, that did not work at all. So let's go over my trades in Tesla and Netflix then. I took a total of 4 trades yesterday in Netflix, Tesla, in STAF, which was a loss, and in Facebook, which was a break-even trade. So it was a decent day. So out of the open, I missed my trades in Tesla and in Netflix at the open, as usually after such a long weekend, it takes a moment to get settled in, and I tend to hesitate in that moment. I am trigger shy and very conservative in my trading. So these were my levels. I had 307.50 in Tesla and 309, 311 above for possible entries, and for support I had this 300 level, which was the low on Friday, like into the close, where we bounced nicely out of 3 for another 6-point move. I didn't trade that. My computer was already off, but I saw it in hindsight, so that would have been a very nice trade here. So below that I had 297.50s and 295-ish for support. And so as you can see, I was very patient. Here I missed my entry at 308. So that was kind of a bummer. I didn't expect it to sell off this hard or this soon. I thought I had 308.50s and 307.50 and 308.50 to 309 for more significance. But well, we didn't trade up there. I saw that 308, I watched it, I saw a big offer at 308, I saw the reject, and then I just hesitated and I just let it be. But I watched it, and I was very patient yesterday. I saw it test 300s here, and I didn't like the bounce here. So as we were too close to VWAP, and I watched it and wanted to see, like, I saw this candle form, but I really wanted to see the break of the highs for an entry. So I just watched it. I'm very glad I did not take an entry. So once we got closer to my 398.50 level, I watched it closer, and we broke the level, and Tesla stalled. The bids and the offers, like they came closer together, and there wasn't much movement for like 20 or 30 seconds. So I thought, okay, we might bounce, and I took a step. So as you can see, I was too early, and it is just better just to watch. And here we formed a nice decision candle, and I could have used here this level for an entry, and this would have been decent. I was still okay with my 298.50 entry, but my target at 299 was not hit, so I had no fill. I took off break even, but it was a little my fill was bad, so I had a little loss on half my position. I thought we might, like, do like a higher low, and I would have entered a higher low and I would have entered. But then I saw this big decision candle to the downside, and I knew, okay, we might sell off further, but I didn't want to take a loss. And so when we came closer, I had my next level was 295. 290, yeah, 295 was the next level I had on watch. But here again, at 296, we lowered below 296, and then once we stepped up, I took an entry, and I was again too early, but this wouldn't have given me a nice signal, and I think I would have hesitated taking an entry here. So my entry was good. I piled out into 297.50s and at 298, and when I saw this small candle form and on the retest, I took another step, and I had like 10 shares left. So at VWAP, I took another thing, another exit, and then for the last piece, I had actually my target was 3 or 4. I can't remember why I had 3 or 4. So I missed 302, and I didn't get filled in the offer, and I mean it's ridiculous. I didn't want it. I mean it's like 5 shares left, and you already have like a 6-point move, and you start to think about 30 cents and the spread, and you don't want to take the exit on the bid, and then like I maybe wanted to see something like this and go for high, so I just stuck with it, and eventually I got stopped out here, and as usual, when I get stopped out, I get stopped out by some cents, and on the low, I mean we have 299. This is a level here. Yeah, that was my Tesla trade. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It was a good trade, but I did even better on Netflix. So Netflix. Let's go over Netflix. Whoops. Okay, Netflix. Unfortunately, I don't see my pre-market levels here anymore, but I had this 337-ish and 336 for resistance. We had the SMA 200 at around 334.50s, and the EMA 9 on the daily. These are both on the dailies. Below that, I had 328.50s for support and 325.50s, and for more significant support, I had 320 and 318 with the SMA 100 on the daily just below that. So when I saw, I was very patient, but also I hesitated in taking an entry here at the pre-market highs. And yeah, I mean Netflix chopped around. Yeah, volume wasn't that great out of the open, and the spreads were wide, and it made big moves. I mean, this is like three points, and it hovered around. It chopped around VWAP, and I just watched it. So when it sold off and made new lows, I saw this area here, but I didn't like it, and I'm very glad I didn't take an entry here, as it was too close to VWAP. And I mean, I saw it spiked up and then reversed really hard to sell off, and I missed this entry here. So I was hesitated. So once we broke back above 330, I missed it, and I didn't even take the backside here, as I wanted to see like 329.50s. But when we sold off here, I didn't like this, so I did not take this trade either. And I just watched. I kept watching it. I mean, I think I was already long in Tesla, and the market in general sold off. The RSI on the 2-minute, I used the RSI 14 on 2 minutes for overbought and oversold. So I keep watching them when like the market is making a move lower. I also take a look at the RSIs, and like in stocks like Tesla and Netflix, when the RSI is above 90 and below 10 or getting close to that area, I get very interested and look. I mean, if I see like a move of around 8 points and a distance of half an ATR to VWAP, that's usually a very good sign for an entry, or for a reversal or a possible bounce, even if it's just for the EMAs, EMA 9 or EMA 9 on 5 minute, the VWAP or EMA 20. It's worth like 2 or 3 points, so the risk is limited. So or actually on Netflix, I missed this entry. I didn't like it. It wasn't clean enough. I mean, my support I had was this 328.50, and we tested 327.50. So that was all good. But I didn't like it, so I just watched it, and I wanted to see like this would have been a possible entry, but I missed it. So I wanted to see like make it a higher low, and actually we put in something like a double bottom. So I saw it come down again below 328.50, and once we lifted 328.50s again, I took an entry, and I was a little too early again. We spiked down to 327.50 to the cent, but I don't think you would have gotten filled there. So, and this would have been a perfect entry here, as we formed this nice candle here. But as I already had a position, I was good. I didn't pay. I didn't add. I could have added and be more aggressive. But it's Monday. It's the first day. It's one of the first trades, and you're not green on the week yet. So you usually, or I am usually, a little bit careful. So I took profits into 329, 330, and 331 ish. So, and I stuck with the rest. And now I wanted to see like a backside trade and a retest of 328.50. So once we bounced below, we tested 328. And once we moved back above 328.50s, on this move, I took an entry, and it was, like we hesitated and we traded back down, and I just took off half because I didn't like the action. It looked very weak. And I just stuck with the rest. This entry I missed, but I did really good on this exit at 332.50. So I got filled on the high. So yeah, that was good. But it was only like, I think it was the last 5 to 10 shares. So I mean, still it was like a 5-point move. So it was a good entry. So here I didn't take the trade. I didn't like how it traded around VWAP. Like what I wanted to see if I take a VWAP fade is like a harsh sell-off, very extended, then a harsh and fast bounce back to VWAP, and then I'm willing to take an entry around here. But if I see chop like this, I usually don't like trading these. I mean, I could have gotten short here, and it would have been a good entry. With a stop here, it's like $1 stop, and that would have been okay. But I saw the support at 331, and I just watched it, and I got interested once we got back below 328. But I didn't take this entry here or here when I saw the move above 328.50s, because I didn't like the entry. But when I saw this candle form here, I got interested again, and I took a stab again, and I actually have I zoom in. There it is. So as you can see, this would have been a good entry. I mean, there were plenty of possibilities to go short here, and like just have your stop above VWAP. I wasn't too aggressive here, so That was, oh, actually, no, we were here. I was a little, okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Here. So this was the first entry, and this time I used the break of supports for an exit. So and it was okay, and took off the last, I think the last half here, and at VWAP or into VWAP or above, once we hit above 330. And I did not take the short here, as like I told you, I didn't like the action. I mean, it was a retest of VWAP, and in hindsight, it's always easy to say you could and should have taken a position, but when I saw it trade around here, I just didn't like the action. I didn't trust it. I didn't trust the market. The SPY was just chopping around. We were during the lunch hours, volume was low, and yeah, just watch it. But I got interested again when we hit 325.50 support. My entry here, I saw it like come back, test below 326, and then it lifted back up, and I took an entry, and I took half off for $1, and it reversed down. Didn't take an exit here, but I saw 325.50 down. It got down, and on the way up, I was a little too early with my entry, and really should have waited for I mean, I would have gotten the same price, but usually you just wait for the next candle to open, and then take an entry as you break the highs. That would be much more cleaner, and I think this would have been the perfect entry here. But usually you're here already, then you're mad at yourself because it sells off again, but your stop is down here below, so on the lows. And usually I put my stop like 10 to 15 or 20 cents below the lows. If I even take, if I'm not scaling in or pyramiding in and take a hard stop, I usually put it like 15 to 20 cents below the lows, because sometimes what you do, you make just a spike in before you reverse hard, and it's very painful if you see, like you make your loss. It's not high, but you take your loss, and then the thing just goes off for 10 points, and you're like, okay, thank you. And once you stopped out, I'm usually so I'm just I can't move sometimes. I don't even think about like re-entering, even though you get a clear signal. So it's just a mental thing. However, I was in it, and when we rejected the highs here, I wasn't filled here, so I took an exit on the bid and just stuck with the rest. And here I just called it a day at 2 p.m. and once we broke this 326, I think my average was at 325.80s was my entry, was my average. Yeah, that was Netflix, and I took another trade on Facebook, but it was just break even. I don't even have a screenshot of that. Good day, good start in the week. Looking forward to Wednesday, and hopefully we pick up some volume. Thank you very much.